Onside. Dolphins game, and it's an onside kick.
All right, hello. Welcome back to the Onside Kick Show. I'm Zach Stein.
I'm Gavin Lemke. Welcome back. Zach, happy birthday, man.
Thanks, man.
You feeling 22?
You know, if we're talking Taylor Swift, I don't know.
Oh.
But in terms of age, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give her the gratitude of, you know what, actually, I'm not going to get into my Taylor Swift agenda on the air because people will dislike me for that.
Yeah, let's wait on it.
Yeah, but it is my birthday, and there's no place I'd rather spend my birthday than in a studio with my good friend Gavin.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate you being here, bro.
Oh, of course.
Taking the time out of your birthday.
No, of course.
Wonderful.
Wouldn't miss it. Well, we have a really good episode planned for you guys, so if you are listening on air, welcome in. And if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're starting to chop up our segments and put out little YouTube videos, put them in bunches. So be excited for that. Well, we have skipped some trivia in the last couple episodes, but let's do a quick one real quick. This is from my dad. He is a big fan of the show. Loves your voice, Gavin. Thinks you're a wonderful co-host.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I mean, I got a face for radio, right? That's what they be telling me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he is asking for us to name the 4 quarterbacks that have defeated all 32 teams. Now, do you have any idea who the 4 quarterbacks could be?
Well, my first guess would probably be like Montana, Brady. I don't think Brady ever beat the Patriots, did he?
I'm trying to think. You think they had a revenge game in there, right?
I mean, what did he spend with the Bucs? 2 seasons?
Yeah, you'd think.
I don't know. I mean, different conferences. They might have never met.
That's a safe guess, though. Like, I mean, he had.
I feel like it's got to be Brady. Like any record like that, it's got to be Brady. And then Montana was just the other guy because I know he played for the 49ers for so many years and then switched over to the Chiefs for a while. So maybe he caught a dub against the Niners.
I know there was some stat. I think. Oh, actually, I'd bet. Well, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played the Packers, so never mind. I was gonna say Drew Brees, but he never played for a team that wasn't the Saints. So, yeah, what are other quarterbacks that played on multiple teams? Oh, but Drew Brees did play on the Chargers.
He did.
So maybe he's beaten all.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There's one stat that I'm remembering where it's like one quarterback has never beaten the Vikings or something, or it's like that the only team they haven't beaten. And I'm trying to think of who that is. I don't know who that is.
Interesting. I'm just trying to think of kind of like legendary quarterbacks that bounce around teams. Obviously, Brady switched up. You mentioned Rodgers. What about Favre? Because he was on Minnesota. He obviously had to have beaten Green Bay at some point. Played for the Jets. Give him some matchups there.
I like that.
And he played for like 20 seasons.
That's true.
And he never sat. He was never hurt. He always played through pain. I feel like Brett Favre maybe.
Brett Favre. Yeah,
interdivisional matchups.
So we got Favre, Brady, Breeze. There's one, and Montana. Is that the 4 we're going with?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like Matt Ryan or someone too, but I don't know if he was.
That's true. How many starts did he get with the Colts?
I think just 1 full year.
1 full year.
So I don't know if he played the Falcons that year.
Matched up with Atlanta.
I don't know. I like the 4 that we have. I like the 4 that we have.
So we went Brady, Favre, Breeze, and Montana.
I like that.
Montana, I like it.
Just those are guys who win.
Should we submit?
Let's submit it. And now we need to look up the answer to this. 4 quarterbacks that have beaten all 32 teams. The answers are, okay. We got 3 out of 4. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre. I don't know why I didn't think of Peyton.
Same. I was literally like, let's just think of legendary Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Peyton Manning didn't even come to mind.
Didn't even cross our mind once.
That's crazy.
We don't know ball, bro. We don't
I know.
But you know what I do know?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know cubes.
Okay.
And I got this cube for my birthday. I was gonna show this earlier in the show, but I'm just gonna show it now.
You said a cube?
I got this cube. I like these fidget cubes for my birthday. I'm just gonna play with this on camera and give no context behind this at all.
Yeah,
so continue.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Right into there. Well, Zach, we actually that's a nice little birthday gift right there.
Oh,
we have
good.
another birthday gift for you, man. Your team, the Bears, they franchise tagged your boy Jaylon Johnson.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So happy birthday. You guys are going to be paying $20 million to this guy for this next upcoming season. Sure. He was solid this year, Pro Bowler, right?
He was all pro. I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's one of the best corners in the league. So
Yeah.
I don't really think you guys are making a mistake there.
I agree.
Should be happy to have him back. Hopefully next year you guys can work out a long-term extension.
Yeah.
It's kind of what Ryan Poles was talking about, like the last few interviews he's done. He said, yeah, we're working towards a long-term deal. Obviously didn't come to fruition this offseason, but
I think they are still negotiating. I could be wrong, but I think they are still negotiating because I believe you can receive the franchise tag, but if you don't sign it, you could get another deal. Oh. I could be wrong. But either way, at the very least, we do have him locked down for a year.
We'll have to look into the specifics of that. We'll actually have to do some investigative journalism.
Of course.
But also now hitting the free agent market, Saquon, Jamal Adams was released, Calvin Ridley still out there. And then big news that happened, I think either yesterday or the day before, Russell Wilson was released by the Broncos.
Yeah.
They're going to be taking a $85 million cap hit. It's tough. And now Russell Wilson's available to be signed by any team for the veteran minimum, which is like less than $2 million. I don't know. I think this is going to go down as one of the worst trades like ever.
I was about to say, do you think it is the worst trade ever?
I mean, hold up. I think I had a screenshot somewhere of everything they gave up.
I do remember I don't know what year it was, but Ricky Williams was a legendary, I think, Texas running back, and Mike Ditka on the Saints traded every single one of his draft picks to acquire the first overall pick or the second overall pick, which was Ricky Williams.
Wow.
Who I don't even think will be remembered as an all-time Saint.
Dude, it's crazy how the times change. Like trading all your picks for a running back would be like you would be clinically insane these days. But the Broncos gave up 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, or the Seahawks, my bad. Gave up 2 first-rounders, 2 second-round picks, Drew Lock, Noah Fant. And they paid Russell Wilson $165 million. Going to be eating that this year.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I think the Deshaun Watson contract is going to prove to be worse because Russell Wilson actually had a decent year last year. They almost made the playoffs. Sean Payton, I think, is kind of a budding problem there in Denver. But, yeah, I mean, that was so much value. You remember there was a report that the Bears were going to try and do that? Like the Seahawks declined to trade for 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson the year before.
Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Thank God. Thank you, Broncos, for taking that. Because, oh, my God, I can't imagine if instead of we had number 1 pick and maybe Justin Fields, maybe Caleb Williams, instead we had Russell Wilson. Oh, my God.
And you would just be stuck with him, and he's 35 now, and you would be paying him like $40 million a year. Yeah. Would just be nuts. Yeah. But, he's available on a veteran minimum. Where do you think he's headed?
Ooh.
I know people like Pittsburgh, people like Atlanta, places like that.
That's a good question. I could see him going many places. Steelers is a team that comes to mind because they're kind of at an impasse with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. And at the same time, maybe you don't want to jump back to a first-round quarterback or you don't want to make a trade for Justin Fields just yet. Like, you may still have something in these young guys. So maybe they would want a veteran. Maybe they would go for, like, a Gardner Minshew or a Jimmy Garoppolo or, like, Ryan Tannehill worked with Arthur Smith. But I could also see them going for Russell Wilson because at the end of the day, he really wasn't like a bottom 10 quarterback last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, in my opinion.
I mean, I understand that. But you mentioned, who'd you just mention? Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill. I feel like I'm taking Russell Wilson over all these guys. He's a Super Bowl champion.
I agree.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of teams looking for QBs this year. Obviously, tons of QBs on the market. Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, and then tons of prospects in the draft. So it'll be super interesting. I think I'm kind of 50-50 right now whether or not Russell Wilson will have a starting job next year.
Do you think he would, if he did sign anywhere, you think he would go to the Steelers? Where do you think he would go?
I think if he went to the Steelers, he would be the starter. I think instantly.
What about the Raiders? You think he would go to stay in the division, go to the Raiders?
I don't know if he fits.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the culture. I just feel like he doesn't fit.
That is
true. He makes too much money. To be honest. Mr.
Unlimited won't mess well with Antonio Pierce. Last week we talked about him like wanting to like mentally touch people, whatever that means.
Ooh.
Yeah. That would be an interesting mesh, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see where he goes. Meanwhile, the Broncos are in cap hell. Like Cortland Sutton wiped every Broncos mention in his bio on social media. That's like their one offensive playmaker that they got. They gotta figure that out with him. They may just need to start from the ground up. And I don't need to get into this now because we have a lot of things to talk about. But I will say I have been very disappointed in Sean Payton. I sound like his dad saying that. This man's like 40 years older than me. But I don't know. It's been sad to see that has kind of. I feel like when you go back to like Bountygate on the Saints, like that was pretty shady of him to be part of that. and then now in the Broncos. Just the way he's handled Russell Wilson, the previous coaching staff, it's been really strange and kind of shocking. Like, so I don't know how I feel about Sean Payton as the coach, but if he gets a new quarterback and they start winning, maybe he'll prove himself.
He was super adamant about that from the beginning. Like, we're gonna do things my way. Kind of a little bit selfish of him, but hopefully it works out well for Russell Wilson. Hopefully he can go somewhere. Like, I think if he goes to Pittsburgh next year, they're making the playoffs.
That's true.
I don't think
they make the playoffs every year with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges and all these other guys, washed up Big Ben. So with Russell, I mean, you'd hope, he could.
Yep. So in other news from a couple days ago, Jason Kelce officially retired. He held his press conference, came in looking like he was post-lift, had the cutoff shirt on, just all jacked, and then just sat up there. Took him like 2.5 minutes before he could actually start talking. He was just crying. That's People Magazine's sexiest man alive, too, by the way. Yeah. But not super great speech. Like, honestly, really well written. Took him like 45 minutes to get through it because he just couldn't stop crying. But I was surprised, man, the amount of people. He went down the entire list from the owner, from his coaches to Big Dom, the security guy. He was thanking everybody.
He's become a celebrity.
13 seasons with Philly, and he was like the face of that team as a center. Like, that's crazy. 6-time All-Pro, including All-Pro last year. Yeah. So he's retiring on that. 2018 Super Bowl champ. And now he's going to become a full-time podcaster / beer chugger. Yeah. So good for him. He's on to better things.
That's a great career right there. If I could become a full-time podcaster / beer chugger, I mean, that's the dream, right?
That's the dream job, man. Hopefully he'll next year, because I'm pretty sure Travis Kelce's going to be coming back to the Chiefs next year. So hopefully we get some cool like footage like we did this year of Jason Kelce just at a Chiefs game, chugging beers. Shirtless.
You mean more footage, because that's already happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Just more.
We need more of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was. I thought what he was saying about Nick Foles, biggest meat on the field, walking up to Doug Peterson, who had the biggest balls on the field to do the Philly special.
That was a good quote.
Yeah, I mean, that Super Bowl run, it came and it went, right? So people, it's been years since that happened, but I think when you really break it down, that was one of the better Super Bowls that I've watched, because you had a backup QB, Nick Foles, playing lights out in the Super Bowl, beats Tom Brady. They had this crazy play, the Philly special. I think it honestly got undermined by how good the Eagles were after that when they had Jalen Hurts, too. But that was such a legendary run. I will never forget that team. That team had a lot of iconic players. That Eagles team was so stacked. And a lot of those guys like, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, kind of on their way out. What this Eagles team, he's going to be missed dearly. But I think he'll still be around as a personality going forward.
Yeah, hopefully he's still around the franchise. I mean, he spent all of his career with Philly, so I don't know, maybe he takes like a coaching role. I could totally see him doing that.
That would be sick. If he was an O-line coach, I mean, amazing.
He would be a great coach.
Yeah. Well, I got something for you. Now, you're talking about, official press conferences, Schefter reporting this, Schefter reporting that. Well, how about Barbershop Schefter? Let me tell you on this scoop. I got the inside scoop.
Is this still Schefter, or is this a different human?
No, this is just a random guy who I found on a Twitter space. His name is blurred. We literally can't identify this man.
You be in the Twitter spaces?
No, I was not on the Twitter space, but I through a point of view of a guy recording at another Twitter space. Okay, I found this guy, but so-called Barbershop Schefter is going viral because he claims on this Twitter space with a bunch of other Bears users, Bears superfans, that Fields isn't going anywhere and that the Bears are playing everyone.
Wow.
So I'm going to read you a few quotes from Barbershop Schefter here. The reason he's called Barbershop Schefter is because he apparently goes to the same barbershop as Justin Fields and Jaquan Brisker and some other guys.
That's all the information I need. He's an insider.
Apparently,
he's more of an insider
if he's telling the truth, yes, he is an insider. More than Schefter, like you said. But so he says that, he hears what they're doing every week. He hears the plan. And he said he has no problem leaking this information because, quote unquote, he doesn't care. What are they going to do to him? Right?
Yeah. Stop cutting his hair.
Exactly. I mean, that would suck. But so he thinks that they're trying to convince the league that they're really getting Caleb so that they can make some moves. They can trade that number 1 pick, load up on assets, and reload with Fields. He says Poles, Fields, the Bears, even Fields going on the St. Brown Bros podcast. He said that was all a ploy.
It was a scheme.
Increase the draft stock. Now, the evidence he gives, he says, well, I'm hearing all this stuff in the barbershop. He also says that Fields just bought another condo in Chicago.
Is this true?
Yeah.
How can we confirm this?
Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to leak the guy's address. He said he wasn't going to say where, so we kind of just got to take Barbershop Schefter's word for it.
Yeah. In the comment section, somebody dox Fields.
Please.
We need to know where he lives.
No, please don't. But this is the strongest piece of evidence in my opinion, because when you hit somebody with this, it has to be true. He said, "You don't have to believe me," but to another guy who's doubting him on the space, he said, "Send me your personal telephone, and if I'm wrong, I will cash app you $5,000 on my mama."
On his mom?
Now, when you lay out the "on my mama,"
I have no choice but to believe you.
it's stone cold facts right there.
He's not gonna lie on
No
his
way.
mama.
You kidding me?
That's crazy.
He gave him his cell phone. I bookmarked that page, so when Fields doesn't get traded and they trade the number 1 pick, I'm running this tweet. I'm gonna hope our guy gets his. We'll hope the guy doesn't have to give $5,000. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting, especially considering the same day Rich Eisen, who's more of a reliable host, claims that Caleb to the Bears is a done deal.
Yeah.
And he says that the Bears wanted Caleb in the building the day after the combine, but Caleb opted for the day after his pro day, which would be March 20th. And so they're saying the Bears need to trade Fields ASAP before March 20th. What do you think of all this madness? Who's right? Are you going with Rich Eisen or are you going with Barbershop Schefter?
I love Rich Eisen. I don't know. I'm on Twitter right now. I'm looking up Barbershop Schefter. A lot of unavailable tweets, a lot of deleted tweets. So either he said some horrible, obscene things and he's banned off Twitter, or he's been shadow banned because he's right.
Yeah. Poles got him. He said, "What are they going to do? Poles is going to take down your entire family, bust your kneecaps." That's classified.
It would make sense if Elon and Schefter were in cahoots. Schefter pretty much runs NFL Twitter. If you were to say, "Elon, this news is mine. I don't want some kid in a barbershop releasing my news that I work so hard for." So yeah, either Elon is silencing Barbershop Schefter because I can't find his Twitter anywhere, or he's right, and you got to rock with it. But I don't know. The only thing that would make me kind of steer against that, because obviously I got to trust this dude. He's in the barbershop. But the only thing that makes me kind of doubt that is that in Fields' press conference last week, he didn't really make it seem like they had gotten too many offers. Mm-hmm. He made it seem...
Or Poles' press conference?
Or Poles, yeah. Would I say Fields?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Poles' press conference the other day, he kind of only mentioned, I'm talking to Fields' camp, trying to see what's best for him. He didn't really mention that they've been getting calls and stuff like that. He didn't even mention that they've been getting asked to trade the number 1 pick or Fields, neither of that. So I feel like if you want to create those smoke screens or something, that's what you have to do. But yeah, I don't know. I want to trust him, dude.
Yeah. It's a fun story. And you know what? There's only one way to find out. You just got to wait, see what happens.
Yeah, so. We have to wait. I mean, something's got to happen soon. Because Poles in that press conference did say if Fields had to get moved, they would want to do it before free agency starts.
We got a week from today.
We got a week. So
a week from this hour, actually.
Yeah, so. Hopefully next week we're talking and news has broke.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll have to wait on that. But I thought that was a really interesting story. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be back to talk about some college quarterbacks and some possible free agents. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. Gavin, you got an interesting story for us regarding Arch Manning?
Yeah, well, before we get into the quarterback prospects out of college, there's one kid in college right now at Texas going to be a sophomore. Arch Manning opts out of the NCAA 25 video game.
Wow.
This is crushing. This is a crushing blow for people like me who are going to be addicted to that game once it comes out. I'm not rebuilding Texas anymore. What's the point if Arch isn't going to be in the game? The Manning name won't be there. He said he's focused on playing football on the field. Interesting.
You're not rocking with Quinn Ewers? He's there for another year.
That's what I was going to say. Is he really going to be on the field? Is Quinn Ewers not their quarterback? Quinn Ewers is also rumored to be a 99 overall in the game, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
That's ridiculous. Are you kidding me?
But the players who do choose to allow EA to use their name, image, and likeness, they'll get $600 minimum and a copy of the game. So, what do you think's holding back Arch? It's not like it's going to take up too much of his time. All you got to do is say, yeah, sure, you can use my name, image, and likeness. Get a quick check, get the game. Maybe he doesn't want the game because then he'll just play it.
I was gonna say maybe because he says, "Oh, it might be a distraction to me." Well, maybe the distraction is just that he would just be playing it because he's not on the field. He'd be playing with himself off the field. Pause. But I think people were saying, distraction, but like it's probably more of a distraction for. My bad, y'all. Family friendly show. It's probably more of a distraction for him to decline because like that's the only person I've heard of who's like declining to be in the game.
Yeah.
Now I will say, reminiscent of Bill Belichick when he declined to go on the show or to go on Madden. And so instead of Bill Belichick as Patriots coach, we had some legends like Griffin Murphy, some other just random dudes they just took like a greasy like fat guy and put him in glasses and they're like, he's basically Walmart Belichick.
Yeah, and I believed it too.
You could be seeing like, Darch Panning throwing the football, for Texas. Like, who knows? So
who knows?
I don't know.
I think if he did opt into I think it would be the right move for him to opt into the game because then he could rebuild Texas and he could plug himself into the offense instead of Quinn Ewers, and he could show his coaches, like, look what I just did virtually.
Yeah.
I just threw for 530 yards against Oklahoma.
That reminds me of those memes on Twitter where it's like, oh, Justin Fields is washed, or like he's not good. Like, then explain this, and it's just like him and Madden throwing like an 80-yard pass, like 99 overall mutt card, like 90-yard pass. Like, that's what Arch Manning should be doing.
Hopefully,
like,
do you think this is kind of off topic, but do you think in the next like Madden's Ultimate Teams and stuff like that? I know they've done it this year. Like Caleb Williams probably has a Madden Ultimate Team card by now because he's in the combine. Do you think they'll start having like an Arch Manning like Ultimate Team card?
Dude, maybe. I mean, if he opts out of NCAA though, is he gonna opt into Madden? Like that doesn't.
I know.
That's really interesting. You think when he gets to the NFL, he's gonna be like, nah, being in Madden is a distraction. I can't do it. And we are going to have Darch Panning or whatever.
I'm pretty sure if you're in the NFL, you have to be in Madden. I'm pretty sure it's like part of your contract that they can use your name, image, and likeness.
I wonder how Belichick got out of it.
I believe so. Because I think I listened to a podcast with Arian Foster, and I think he mentioned something like he tried to get out of it, but it was already in his contract that he had signed. So.
Interesting.
A little behind the scenes. Yeah, we know stuff.
With side note, Arian Foster, like goated podcast host now. Look up him wanting to fight a wolf. That's some of the funniest things I've ever seen online. Like he was training to fight a wolf. He's like, I could beat a wolf in a one-on-one.
Yeah, it's real. Macrodose and Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
Pretty good show.
But Arch, we got a couple more years to wait, see if he even plays in college and then, in the NFL. Let's talk about some guys that we will be seeing in the NFL this year because, man, we're well into draft season. We got the combine. We've talked about the draft a little bit, but now it's time. Me and Gavin have had some time to watch some film, watch some tape. And so what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks is just going through our top 5 at positions. I also am writing articles about these, so my opinion you can find more in written form online. My Substack, I'll put a link on the YouTube,
and you can also refute his opinions in the comment section.
You also can do that. I actually encourage that. Bring it on. Let's see. I do have some hot takes, but I see you have some hot takes too.
Whoa, what's hot?
In my opinion. So why don't you go ahead and start off? Tell me your top 5 quarterbacks in the 2024 NFL Draft.
All right,
starting with number 1.
Yeah, cool. I'll start off. Number 1, I'm going Drake May.
Woo!
Yeah.
Bombshell.
I've said it before. You've known this.
Oh my God.
He's my guy, man. I think he's like a Josh Allen, but like more polished coming out of college. Now I've talked about him before. Just turn on the tape. You'll see what I saw. It's super impressive stuff. I think I mentioned before he threw a touchdown with his left hand once. So if people are like they're talking about Caleb Williams, he's a little bit Mahomey. I think Drake May is also a little bit Mahomey. My only concern with him though is getting rushed out of the pocket, thrown under pressure. Not very consistent. Actually, stats right here ranked 97th when hurried with 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, a completion rate of 43% when hurried. So
wow.
That's the only stuff right there that scares me a little bit is he kind of cracks down under pressure, misses some reads. Like you saw Fields this year, right? He would drop back. We're Monday morning quarterbacks. We open up Twitter and this is what we see. It's like, how did Fields not throw this? And Fields would just kind of sit in the pocket a little bit until it collapsed around him, and then he would try to make something happen. I see a little bit of that in Drake May. But other than that, in the pocket, when he's got a clean pocket, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. His arm is a cannon. And then obviously at number 2, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. I got some concerns with him, though, too. I mean, obviously everyone knows about the positives. You know, we all watch the film. It's fun to watch. Caleb Williams, you know, and not that this is anything that I have a problem with personally, but some people have pointed out that this is not what quarterbacks traditionally do, traditionally act. Caleb Williams is a guy, you saw him crying after he lost to, who did he lose to? UCLA?
Yeah, something like that.
He was crying in his mom's arms. People frown on that, I suppose. Caleb Williams wears dresses. He paints his nails, which I don't honestly have a problem with, but some people have problems with it. And Caleb Williams also made an Instagram for his dog, which was probably the
your favorite quarterback probably has an Instagram account for his dogs. I will not let that slide.
Who, Goff?
I mean, probably. I know mine does. I mean, Justin Fields got Uno Fields. That's an account.
That's true.
But a lot of people do,
Instagram.
I'm sure. But
yeah. And he lives in a high-rise Los Angeles apartment also is my last thing. So that's kind of why he's number 2.
So that's what you're knocking him down for all that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know about that, man.
Drake May would never.
What about on the field, though?
On the field, yeah.
He's literally Mahomes on the field.
I mean, I don't know about that. That's pretty crazy to say. Yeah, I don't know. You like watching the plays where he scrambles out wide and he makes like a 40-yard dot of a throw, but I don't know. Do you have any concerns with Caleb Williams?
You know, I do. I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to my quarterbacks. It's not with his character. I mean, there's maybe a little bit in terms of the character because he looks up to Aaron Rodgers a lot, but I don't know. I'm not going to knock him for expressing himself. There's a lot of other players who dress strangely. Like OBJ wore a dress to Met Gala, and he was a dog for the Giants. So, like, I don't know. I don't think I'm knocking him too much for that, but I will tell you about on-field what I see with Caleb when we go to next. But what about your number 3 guy?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to mention, too, Young Thug wore a dress, and that's one of the best albums of all time.
True.
My number 3, and this actually took, like, a lot of this. I was considering this for a long time, but I went Jaden Daniels. I know I'm kind of following the pack with that pick. My only concerns was that it was kind of like funny opening up Twitter during the weeks. You would see Jaden Daniels just getting hammered.
Yeah.
Like, he took so many big hits throughout his Heisman campaign last year. He only fumbled twice, which is good, but he did have 4 games with 15-plus rushing attempts. I don't know. I mean, it kind of strikes me as a guy who's going to, like, get by in college. He's going to get his, but I don't know about in the league. It kind of worries me, 15 rushing attempts a game. He also had 4 games of 100-plus rushing yards, so that's solid.
1,000 on the season last year.
Yeah. 1,100 rushing yards, crazy. To go along with 3,800 passing yards, 40 touchdowns on 72% completion rating. That's pretty much what bumped him up to 3 for me.
Yep.
And then my
Heisman
4th,
Trophy.
Yeah, Heisman. My 4th QB, J.J. McCarthy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Kind of controversial pick, especially coming after the combine. He didn't really... He missed a couple throws. I won't say he had a bad combine, but he did miss a couple, like, pretty easy throws. I would say, though, that he's, like, the 3rd best arm talent. Actually, I don't know if I would say that. It's between him and Jaden Daniels, I guess, with arm talent. Maybe not even a top 5 decision maker, though. J.J. McCarthy kind of worries me there. I think for him, you saw it at Michigan, he needs to go somewhere with the right infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And I think he could develop into less talented, but like a Joe Burrow type.
Interesting.
With a little bit of the mobility, the way he escapes from sacks, Burrow. I could see that happening. But yeah, I think JJ needs to go somewhere that needs a quarterback and that has the infrastructure around. Kind of maybe a place like Denver, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I read a report today. It was like a Detroit Lions beat writer, and it was like his top 20 prospects from he was at the Combine, he was at the Senior Bowl, all that. He's a beat writer for the Lions, and he had McCarthy as like his 4th best, not 4th best overall, but 4th best fit for the Lions. He had Xavier Worthy up there, Quinion Mitchell up there, and then JJ McCarthy was 4th.
That's true. It's a guy you can develop behind Goff.
Yeah,
I still believe in
young.
Hendon though.
He's
I
like
Hendon
21.
Hooker.
Dude,
So.
I don't know why we drafted him.
Well, he just you wanted to give him a year because he was hurt anyway. He was going to be out that whole season anyway. So now I don't know. Maybe give him a year. But.
I don't know. Yeah, JJ McCarthy went to Michigan. Take that pathway, come to the Lions, sit behind Goff for a year or two,
Play with Hutch.
Yeah, play with Hutch, and then maybe in 4 years get a ring, bring a ring to Detroit.
We'll see.
And then at 5 for me, I got Penix. My only concern with him is that, the deep ball looked great all year. The deep out routes, the sideline throws, he was just drilling in there all year. Michigan kind of shut him down in the national championship game. He wasn't hitting those deep balls, those sideline throws. So, yeah, he looked just super, super hurried, super kind of discombobulated in that national championship game. So that kind of bumps him down to 5 for me. Although the videos of him throwing in the hotel were sweet. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, he was not at the combine. He was just throwing in his hotel. Pretty cool stuff. And then I'll give you an honorable mention. Joe Melton, literally just because he can throw the ball 80 yards. And I just kind of want to see what that would look like.
He's shredded.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of my top 5, I think it's going to align a little bit more with what people are hearing, at least the first 2. So I have Caleb Williams at 1. I just think there shouldn't be a reason why he isn't the number 1 pick. I mean, the talent is off the charts just from the arm and also the improvisational skills. I mean, people are comparing him to Mahomes for a reason. I think that's incredible. I was saying to you earlier, there's some things on the field that he has to worry about. Honestly, similar with Fields, like the on-schedule plays, when you have a designed read, it's a quick throw. He does have quick hands. Like, he can throw it in an RPO or something like that, like a screen pass. But I think he's great when the play breaks down, but when you're just asking him to do the bare minimum, like game managing, all that, like, you want him to just stick to the plan, stay on schedule. I think the biggest problem for Caleb is going to be, can he play for his team and not for himself? Same reason why I don't knock him for the nails or the crying or anything with that. Like, I think, that's just for
the record, neither do I.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, but there are a lot of people on Twitter who are knocking him for that. I think, the NFL, you got to be tough because you're going to face losses, especially if you're playing for the Bears. You're going to lose some tough games, and you're going to need to learn how to deal with that in the media. But for his character, I'm a little concerned. I mean, he models his game and his character on Aaron Rodgers, who's known to be a little bit of a diva. Guy who has a ton of MVPs but only one Super Bowl to show for. Williams is a guy, he doesn't have an agent currently. I am worried about how willing he will be, how willing he is to be coached. Like, are people going to want to, or is he I can't speak right now. Are people going to be able to tell him, hey, you need to work on this, you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really worried about that. I think he's going to realize he needs to do that for an adjustment to the NFL. But that's the one thing I see with him. Drake May, I got at number 2. This is the guy, he has all of the prototypes, the prototypical build. He's 6'4", 230. He's a great athlete. He's got a cannon. I think that the traits are all there. Like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, physical guy, underrated scrambler. He was hurdling people, left-hand passes. He's a great athlete. And he didn't put up crazy numbers, but he also didn't have the greatest supporting cast. Mm-hmm. So I think that he has flashed tremendously. Like, he would be a number 1 overall pick in another class. I just think consistency is a problem. The accuracy is there sometimes it's not. But he is still raw and has a ton of tools and a ton of upside.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned he didn't put up crazy stats, but I don't even think he had a game in the last 2 years where he didn't throw for 200 yards.
That's true. That's good.
He's consistent at least.
Uh-huh. In 2023, I'm saying 24 pass touchdowns, 9 picks, 63% completion. He did have 9 rush touchdowns as well. So, again, not like a Heisman season per se, but he's still, he's putting up good numbers. Number 3, I have Jaden Daniels. I love Jaden Daniels. I think you can argue he's number 2. I was just going for, in terms of upside with Drake May, we've seen what Josh Allen has become. And Jaden Daniels, like Heisman Trophy, he had one of the best years in recent history for college quarterbacks. 3,800 pass yards, 40 pass touchdowns, 4 picks, 1,100 rush yards, 10 rush touchdowns just last year. Took a huge leap because at ASU, he wasn't being talked about as a first-round guy. Now he could be the 2nd overall pick. Totally agree with you in terms of he gets hit a lot. It takes a lot of unnecessary hits, and he just needs to learn how to protect himself. It's actually funny sometimes. He'll just randomly jump and get smoked for no reason.
I was going to say, it's like comical, bro. He gets WWE like body slammed like on the regular. Yeah. It seemed like every week you saw 1 or 2 clips of him getting like picked up and dropped on his back, and then he would get up. So that's good. He's a dog in that SEC football league. So you gotta give him a good score on toughness right there. Right?
Yeah, that's true. But in the NFL, they're gonna hit you a lot harder. So you just gotta you gotta prepare for that. But in terms of his arm, I mean, he's got like a more of a slight frame, but like beautiful ball thrower. like amazing accuracy. Footwork is all there, and the mobility is incredible. He rushed for 1,100. I think he's at his best when he's on the run. Well, I don't know. He's a really good pocket passer.
Yeah.
But when he's on the run, he makes some amazing throws.
The deep ball on the run is gorgeous.
Yes, it is. So just a great natural thrower. A guy who has played, I believe, 5 seasons in college, so he's got some experience. People are going to love this guy.
Yeah. I think maybe over the offseason he needs to get some work in with like a baseball team, work on sliding.
There you go.
Because I think that's what guys do.
Yeah.
That's what quarterbacks do. They link up with like baseball coaches and learn to slide like that.
A lot of quarterbacks have that problem, though. Fields had that problem. Burrow had that problem. Lamar, even you just got to learn to slide and protect yourself a little bit. And yeah, I think that's something you can easily coach in the NFL. Number 4 is where we get a little interesting. I actually have Bo Nix at number 4.
Wow.
I mean, one, he put up a monster year, 4,500 pass yards, 45 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Yeah.
And that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is the 77.4
It's ridiculous.
completion percentage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that Nix reminds me a little bit of Herbert. Not as big, not as athletic, but just in the way that, his arm, he relies a lot on his arm to make throws. He is a very good athlete, sneaky good athlete. He can provide in the running game too. They used him a lot on like draws and stuff like that. It was a quarterback-friendly offense this year at Oregon, but he also had a similar year in that same offense last year. And so this is a guy where in the pocket, he is one of the best in the class. When he's comfortable, great. He's extremely accurate, deadly accurate. Throws a great deep ball, great touch as well. He throws a nice softball, he drops it in there. The thing is when the play breaks down, then he really struggles. So he's not great at improvising. Kind of like a Mac Jones in college, where he was actually really good from the pocket, sit there, go through his progressions, make the right reads, drive it with power. But then when it breaks down, it's just he panics and he makes bad decisions. So I do think that that's a concern. But he's 24. He's already developed from Auburn to Oregon, because Auburn he looked very bad.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can plug him into an offense obviously the 49ers aren't looking for a quarterback, but an offense similar to that where the pieces are there, you have a good O-line and good play calling, he can make all the quick throws. This is your ideal game manager who has the potential for more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Honestly, you might have just changed my mind. I'm big on Bo Nix now.
Just watch some more tape. There's still things he needs to work on. He's not perfect, but I actually do like when he is comfortable, he looks really good. So that's I see that. Number 5, I have Michael Penix. So I don't have JJ in my top 5. I'm not a big JJ guy.
Okay.
But Michael Penix, insane arm, just rockets it in there. I will say this. A lot of people want to compare him to Tua just because they're lefty.
Yeah.
I think he's like the opposite of Tua. Because Tua, although he has a lot of deep throws, a really bad deep ball in the NFL. He's underthrowing a lot of guys.
Yeah, he just has guys with 99 speed that can track it down.
Right, exactly. So he benefits a lot from his receivers going getting the ball for him. Penix throws a beautiful ball. The spiral is so tight. It's beautiful deep ball. Like one of the best deep ball throwers in the class, if not the best. The downfield accuracy is amazing. He has kind of almost like a Phillip Rivers type of like half sling and arm.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's a unique release.
Yeah.
But the only thing is with like touch, he sometimes just rockets the ball. He throws it really hard.
Yeah.
Like Stafford kind of struggles with that sometimes instead of just lofting it over or getting it kind of like dropping it in the bucket with a little bit of soft layer, we'll say, like up and down throws. Doesn't do that as much. It kind of just comes out of his arm, is a missile, and that's it. So when you're talking like over the middle of the field, like when you have to throw it over the head of the linebacker and in between the safety, you may struggle with that. Mm-hmm. But when you were talking about the outside numbers, fantastic. Mm-hmm. One thing worried about is medical. He was really banged up in college. He had a really healthy last 2 years. Even in that Michigan game, no, he was banged up. He was limping off the field. That's why he kind of looked off.
That's true.
So I think this is a guy who could be a first-round pick, could fall outside. But the talent is there. It's just, can he stay healthy? And also mobility is kind of a question. When he's on the run, he's all right. But sometimes he makes bad decisions.
Yeah. I mean, he had that play with Indiana, right? Where he reached the goal line and he like Space Jam stretched it out, right?
Yeah.
I think that says all you need to say about his running ability.
That's true. That's true. And then, honorable mention, I had J.J. McCarthy. He wasn't asked to do a lot in Michigan, so I think he is kind of a question mark, right? Like, he could be really good, he could maybe be a miss. He's just giving me Trubisky vibes personally. I don't know. A guy who had
JJ?
just in terms of success in the NFL, people are banking on the traits. He looks good sometimes and he doesn't other times. So I just don't know. He was pretty accurate, but I don't think there's anything that like jumps out for me. Like I feel like he has fairly average like build and arm. And yeah, there could be something there. I just don't know if I would take that kind of a player in the first round. He did do enough to get his team to a national championship, though.
Yeah.
He is a winner. So I like that. That's very possible.
Yeah, that's fair. I like your list, man. I like your list. J.J. McCarthy, I think, is the perfect honorable mention because we're kind of unsure about him. We haven't really seen enough yet.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, shameless plug. Go check out this article in my my Substack. I'll link that in the YouTube. You can also find it linked in our Instagram. Next week, we're going to probably talk about running backs or wide receivers, maybe both. So stay tuned for more stuff like that. Let's move on here. I got a player flashback for you. Now, I don't even know if you know who this guy is.
Yeah, I might not.
But this guy, Henry Melton.
Never heard of him.
Bears D lineman. It's okay. You don't have to know who he is because he has a great story.
Because he's a bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
now,
tell me about him.
I will after this quick break that we're about to take. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So, Henry Melton. This guy was a Bears D tackle / D end. I remember him because we just had a ton of random good D linemen on the Bears, like from 2010 to 2015. We did draft him in 2010. He was a fourth round pick. Or sorry, we drafted him in 2009. He was a fourth round pick. What's so interesting about this guy, he's only a one-time Pro Bowler. He didn't put up crazy numbers. But this guy is such an interesting story. So at 6'3", 290 in the NFL, do you think that there's a position that he maybe would have played in college? Maybe he transitioned to defensive tackle in the NFL. Do you think that there's another position he could have played?
The size, maybe like tight end or linebacker.
Yeah, that's not a bad guess. But you're wrong. He played running back in college, not in high school. This man played running back.
Running back to D tackle is crazy.
Yeah.
What?
So
this
in
is
high
like,
school, well, he did
like-
play in high
It's
school.
like the modern day Fridge. This is the modern day William Perry, right? For you Bears fans?
Except if Fridge had 12 touchdowns in a year in college.
Yeah. That's crazy. 12 touchdowns.
Sorry, 16 touchdowns.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what he went to Texas, is that right?
Yeah, so he went to Texas.
Wait, what years was he there? Is he a national champion?
That's a good question. He was at Texas. How long was he there? Let's see. 2005 to 2009.
So 2005 or 2006, he might have gotten that.
Was that
Against
Vince
USC?
Young? No.
Vince Young, yeah. When he went for the corner and then he got it.
Yeah. Going for the corner. He got it. Yeah. But Henry Melton, such an interesting story. So his debut September 3rd, 2005 against Louisiana Lafayette, Ragin' Cajuns football.
Oh yeah.
He was a backup running back for his first two seasons. And he carried the ball 132 times for 625 yards and 16 touchdowns.
Damn. So he sounds kind of like a goal line threat.
Oh, he was. But he did average like 4 point something on the ground. So
wow.
He was not bad. Now, let me pull up his actual college stat because there was 1 year where he was really good.
Yeah. So was he in college? Was he a running back all 4 years?
Just for his first 2 years. So his first year, he had only 87 carries. He averaged 5 on the ground, 432 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Next year, only gave him 45 carries, but he had 6 touchdowns. So, yeah, goal line guy. Only had 1 reception in college. But, yeah, then they decided, you know what? You are going to be on the other side of the football by the goal line. You're going to be a D tackle. Mm-hmm. So he switched to D tackle. Actually got into he got a DUI or something, and he was suspended for the team.
Nothing wrong with that.
You're going to get canceled just for this episode, bro. And then he came back to start his senior season. He had 10 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 29 tackles.
Wow.
So got drafted in the 4th round as a D tackle for the Bears. He ended up making the Pro Bowl as a D tackle. He had 7 sacks 2011, then 6 in 2012. That was his Pro Bowl year. And that at the time that was the 3rd most by a D tackle in the league behind legendary Geno Atkins, Bengals guy that we talked about. He was a baller for this team. Unfortunately, tore his ACL the next year. And was never really the same after that.
Yeah.
But for a brief moment, This guy had his college glory as a running back, scoring 16 touchdowns, went to the NFL, made a Pro Bowl as a D tackle. Also, D tackle at 6'3", that's pretty impressive. A lot of D tackles, you got to be a little bit taller than that. I mean, Aaron Donald kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean, that just speaks to the genius of good old Mac Brown down there at Texas when he was there. Just discovering the versatility of an athlete like that, playing running back, being pretty consistent, scoring a lot of touchdowns, and then saying, like, you know what, we can turn you into a Pro Bowl D tackle. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty wild. So I just thought that was interesting. There's some other guys from that D-line, like there's Israel Adonijah, there's Willie Young, Lamar Houston, a bunch of random like Bears D linemen, but I think this guy had one of the more unique stories. He went on to play for the Cowboys and the Bucks for a year each before he was out of the league in 2015. Nevertheless, cool story from Henry Melton. So that's the player flashback for today.
That's interesting, man. You educated me today. I learned something.
I'm glad. It may not have been as cool as D'Anthony funding from last week. But
that's true.
It was.
That's true. He's going to fund our business.
Really?
Nah, I'm joking.
Business mass producing fidget cubes?
Yeah.
Which, since I had left you guys in mystery before, this fidget cube is crazy. I think it's a Shashibo cube. Please sponsor us. You can just turn it into different shapes. See, watch this magic. Ready? It was a cube before. Now, it's a sphere. Look at that.
Well, I don't know.
Kind of a sphere.
Yeah, that's more like a decagon, to be honest.
Yeah, whatever. But this is cool. Shout out my girlfriend. This is a great birthday gift because I have so many of these cubes. And this one's got a bunch of animals on it.
Yeah, that one's really cool. It's like a jumble on there.
Got a lemur.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is dope.
What's a lemur?
Watch Madagascar. You'll find out.
Okay.
King Julian and Maurice, the goat. Oh, there's a little monkey on here. Some ape action.
Nice.
You know?
I think that's actually an orangutan.
Oh, you might be so right on that, actually. Yeah. You might be so right. Orangutans can kill people, by the way. They are dangerous animals.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. But hey, enough of that. Football.
Yeah.
Football. We eat, sleep, breathe football.
Football, even this time of the year. We can move forward right now. Got the Q&A section coming up. Mitch, shout out Meech, he asked, should the Lions re-sign Cam Sutton? Now, I don't know when he put this question in, but as of, I think, like yesterday, the Lions decided to re-sign Emmanuel Mosley, bring him back. So he is coming off, I think, like an ACL or an Achilles.
Yeah.
Like, that sucked. He played, like, a few snaps for the Lions and then, tore his Achilles. But Emmanuel Mosley, they did decide to bring him back. So, I don't know, man. Cam Sutton, that's tough. I mean, I think it would cost us, like, $11 million to bring him back. I don't know if we want to do that right now, especially if we're going to make a play on a corner in the draft. And also, in the back end of the season last year, we, as Lions fans, Mitch knows, we were just complaining so much about Cam Sutton. He was getting cooked.
Yeah.
It started with, in the beginning of the season, Jerry Jacobs was playing well, and then Jerry Jacobs started getting cooked. And we were relying on Cam Sutton to be that corner number one. And then you get to, week 16, 17, 18 playoffs. Cam Sutton was getting burnt like toast. And I don't know, at that time, past me, probably me in December is saying, get rid of him, let him walk. I don't care. Like, he just ruined our season. But
who else you got, though?
Who else do we have? That's a good question. I mean, obviously bringing Emmanuel Mosley back. C.J. Gardner-Johnson might walk.
And he's not playing like maybe he'll play nickel for you, but
yeah,
that's the thing. Cam Sutton, he should be your nickel guy, but you just don't have anyone else to play the boundary like Kendall Vildor.
Brian Branch.
That's true.
That's our nickel right there.
That's why it didn't work out because Cam Sutton was a great nickel on the Steelers, and Steelers have had a lot of good like nickel cornerbacks come through like Mike Hilton, and they've moved to other teams and haven't been as effective. So, that's probably why if you try to play him at the boundary, he's not as good. He doesn't have that elite speed to keep up with some of the other guys. But I was going to say, I think the amount of times he got burnt last year, you could probably get him for less than $11 million, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because what he put on tape wasn't great.
No, that is true, but you definitely need somebody there. So maybe you should re-sign him.
Am I wrong, though? Or, if he agreed to a 3-year deal, I don't even think he's a free agent.
He probably has a player option. I bet that's what it is, yeah.
Okay. So does that mean it's up to him?
Well, it could be a team option, could be a player option. If the player option, it's up to him. If it's a team option, it's up to the team. Yeah, so it could be one of those.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I'll have to do a little bit more research before I can honestly answer that question. But yeah, I'm honestly not fond of Cam Sutton after what happened last year. But if he could bounce back, if he loves Detroit, if he's for the culture, then yeah, keep him with us.
Okay, noted. I'm looking at Cam Sutton's contract right now, actually. So there is an out at the end of this season. So for 2025. So he's owed $12 million right now. If you cut him, you'd actually cause 17 in dead cap.
So yeah.
So it would be extend him after this year. That would be the question. So we'll give him another year.
We're stuck with him.
Yeah. This question's from Nick. He says, still no Belichick hire. Does he take a coordinator job or wait for a solid head coaching position?
Interesting.
I'm pretty confident about my answer to this. I think if he was going to coach again this year, he would have already gotten a spot. I thought maybe when the Niners fired Steve Wilkes, they were like, oh, maybe Belichick get in there. I think that he's taking a year off. And if he takes a year off and likes it, then maybe he'll go to media. If he's really missing the game like Sean Payton did, then maybe he'll come back. But I think he kind of went out on a sour note with the Patriots. Yeah. And I think that he is probably going to wait until next year. That would be my guess. I doubt they hire him in the middle of the season, but I suppose it's always possible. Teams are going to be keeping tabs on him for sure.
Yeah.
But he is also like grandpa age. So
yeah. Also, I think Mike Florio reported that a few different broadcasting networks have contacted Bill Belichick. I think it was CBS and NBC. So yeah, maybe wanting him for some pregame stuff, or maybe even like, I don't know. I can't see him as an announcer. Like I just can't see that.
I was surprised. He was on College Game Day one time, and he brought some energy.
Dude,
like
he's funny.
I think just coaching the football team, he thought he had to uphold this like depressed like personality. Yeah. So when you get him out in the media, he's actually like funny dude.
Yeah, he is funny. I could see him doing some media. I would think it would be more like pregame, like halftime stuff. I don't think I could see him in the booth calling games, but. Yeah, I mean, there are broadcasting networks contacting him, so just something to consider. You know, there's guys who have, like Doc Rivers, you know, you're an announcer at one point in the season, and then come the All-Star break, you're all of a sudden the head coach of the team. So, yeah, you never know.
Wild.
You never know. I mean, Belichick could take one of those jobs, you know, maybe work with NBC or CBS for a few months, and then all of a sudden somebody calls, and he's a head coach.
Or, like we talked about before, him and Saban just start a podcast, and that's it.
That's all they need to do. Breaking news, by the way, Bills cut Tre White.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
corner,
insane.
So
Tre White, they released Jordan Poyer earlier today as well. Wow, Tre White on the market. Chicago Bears.
Yeah, they restructured Rasul Douglas's contract. So
wow, that's so interesting. Keeping him. Oh my gosh. Well, our last question was just Zach, what do you want for your birthday? He also asked, where does Russ sign? We said Steelers, maybe like Raiders or something. He asked, what do I want for my birthday? I'll answer that real quick so we can talk about Tre White. More of these cubes.
More
please.
cubes. Just like a mass order of cubes.
If you get like a certain amount of them, you can make the master sphere. And right now, I think I have half of them needed to do that because I'm obsessed. So if you see that it's $20, if you have it in your heart, please. But yeah, wow, Tre White. I mean, he's just been beat up with injury. I know we only have like a minute, so we got to talk about this quickly. But yeah, he's just been beat up with injury, unfortunately. I think when he's on the field, I mean, he's so good. I think he was an All-Pro at some point.
Yeah. Lions, just keep your eyes out. Also, another free agent that I want the Lions to sign, Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Need him. That'd be cool. Did we talk about Saquon at all? Where do you want Saquon to go? He could carry a team.
The Texans would be so fun. But honestly, selfishly, I'm going to say Bears. If we get an elite running back, bring him in.
Dude, I'm scared if he goes to the Bears.
But there was some buzz about him going to the Texans.
There's a lot of good free agent running backs. Bears. I think the Bears are going to get somebody.
Yeah, we should. I think that's a sneaky target for Ryan Poles this offseason is a game-changing running back.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of free agents. Like Christian Wilkins is going into free agency, big D tackle that, I mean, he's going to get a bag somewhere. Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, Seahawks safeties, are both in the market.
Quandre Diggs, come home.
Yeah,
Detroit.
True. There are a lot of guys that we didn't get to talk about today, so maybe we'll do something during the week. We'll talk about some free agents. But we are out of time for today. So if you guys did enjoy this episode, if you're watching on KRUI, thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. Tune into KRUI every 3 p.m. Wednesday. We may have an episode next week. We won't be in the studio. Maybe on Zoom.
Yeah,
maybe
I'll be in New Orleans. But okay, I'm happy to hop on the Zoom.
I guess we will figure that out when we get there. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Take it easy.